Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. This week I want to talk about a more philosophical topic because I was thinking about it and decided it would be a good thing to talk about. I know the title of this video is Reactivity Our Fault? But my first working title was Is Reactivity Man-Made? Because I know that in the wild, for example, dogs and cats typically are only reactive if somebody comes in their space or tries to prey on someone in their family or something like that. But in a more modern sense, because our animals only interact with other animals that we purposefully make them spend time with, or they spend time with us, I had the thought that maybe society in general is creating reactivity in dogs and cats, because a lot of animals that I work with have reactivity, and Kaya has it now too, because she was super friendly with dogs and people and everybody, and then she was attacked 2 years ago by two big white mastiffs in the forest, and then she became protective, and then we worked through that and she was doing really good. And then in January, she got attacked again. And now she's sensitive to anybody who tries to face-to-face greet her. But the problem is that now the cycle is being perpetuated because the more animals that are afraid of being attacked, they make other animals afraid of being attacked. So essentially, the cycle just keeps going and going, and there's so many animals that I very rarely meet one that's completely mellow and perfectly fine with everyone, unless they're an inside animal or they're very, very senior and they just don't move that quickly. So I want to talk a little bit about that, because yes, they have a natural defense mechanism, but if people's poor training is what's perpetuating this behavior in dogs, because you have to have the offensive dogs first before you get the defensive dogs. Then the defensive dogs become offensive because they're trying to protect themselves, but it's basically a perpetuating cycle of reactivity. And in my opinion, it stems from people not training their pets properly. Initially, the first time Kaya got attacked, I couldn't even see the owner. We were coming up, for those who go to Eldridge King, you know what I'm talking about. At the west end of the pond, 3 paths meet up, and one has really good visibility, the other 2 don't. And these dogs just came flying out of one of them and started prey circling Kaya. And owner was nowhere to be seen. He was so far back there, he had no idea what was happening. And I had to yell at him after because it made me feel better. But I was really mad at him because Kaya was doing really well, and after that she wouldn't let any dogs near her for a while, and it was his fault because he let his fairly aggressive dogs off leash because they were snarling at her, and she didn't even do anything. She was just walking. So and then she was doing good, and then the second time, the lady had a bully breed off leash with no leash with her whatsoever, like not even attached to her. She had a prong collar on the dog, which I'm not a huge fan of. But then she had a shock collar on top of that, which if she had activated it would have electrocuted the dog. But she was talking on her phone, and the visibility, this one side of haulage track, the entire south side is basically a straight shot all the way down. So I could see her coming for probably 5 minutes before we actually got anywhere near her. And I put Kaya on and I moved her over to the side and waited to let them pass. Well, this lady was still talking on her phone and not paying any attention, and her dog just lunges at Kaya for the back of her neck. And I had to yell at her too, but the fact that she doesn't think that it's important to pay attention to what's going on, like her dog could have killed Kaya in an instant, and she has no idea what's going on. So when you are out walking your dogs, do not be on your phone, because if your dog hurts someone, they can get put down. And that's really not what you want. Most pet parents do not want that. So pay attention when you're out. Yes, you can take someone with you and talk with them while you're walking, but still pay attention to what's going on. Even when I'm walking with somebody, I have one eye on Kaya at all times, because I want to know and I want to make sure that she's safe, and I want to make sure that, I'm not going to run into anything, but I'm responsible for her actions when we're outside. And I want to make sure that she doesn't hurt not that she would, but that she doesn't hurt anybody and everybody's safe. Everybody has a good time. That's the goal, right? So please, 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 if you're walking your dog, do not talk on your phone, because you don't want that to happen, and you definitely don't want to get yelled at, because it feels good at the time for the person who's doing the yelling, but nobody feels good after that. So just be a responsible pet owner, please, and actually be engaged on your walk. You can use it as a training experience. You can let them sniff. You can practice obedience commands while you're out walking, but please just pay attention. I know in this era of everybody has a cell phone and all of that, everybody's always on it, but take the 30 minutes and put it down, unplug, and take your animal out, because safety is so much more important than that text that you're getting, or that person liked your social media, so now you need to go see who it was. It's not important. Be present, because it's really, really dangerous, and Kaya's training is now set back probably 1.5 years because of that attack. And we were working on it every day, and I have to take treats with me every time I walk her to distract her from people and set up positive interactions for her to help her get over it, and make flower essences to help her move through that reactivity. But it's a lot of work, and a lot of work I wouldn't have to do if that one lady wasn't on her phone talking and let her dog attack my dog. So I know this kind of turned into a bit of a rant, but I needed to say it. A lot of pet parents also can't read body language. And this is something that surprises me, because most people can read human body language fairly well. So if you're going to spend the time to get a cat or dog, why not take a little bit, even like an hour or two, and just learn a little bit about their body language? Because there's so many people where the dogs, or dog or cat, my examples are about dogs just because they're outside of the house more, but the dog's body language is clearly the dog's uncomfortable, and you're letting your dog just come right up to that dog. Well, obviously it's not going to be a positive interaction for both of them, because one of them's uncomfortable before it even starts. Hackles. Not a lot of people know what they are. There's 2 patches, one between the shoulder blades and one near the tail. And when dogs are uncomfortable, they raise their hackles. When they're being defensive, they raise their hackles. And you can see it on some dogs when you walk up to pass them, even on the sidewalk. If they see something they don't like, their hackles go up. And people let their dogs greet each other when one or both of them have their hackles up. And it's not safe. Ultimately, it comes down to safety, because if you want your dog to bite somebody or to be bitten by a dog, then go ahead and approach a dog with hackles up, but you need to know these things, because it comes down to safety. And nobody wants to get bit. I've been bit before, back when I was a little kid, and it's not fun. Nobody wants that. So just pay attention, take the time to learn a little bit of body language. But there's so many ways to help your animals work through it, and I have, especially working with Kaya, I have a few different tools that I use, and I talked about a couple of them, other than behavior training, flower essences. I do acupressure on her for anxiety and trust and things like that. I do energy work on her, so I do Reiki. I've started doing animal communication, but I haven't done it with her yet, just because our bond is pretty strong, and I feel like I'm going to assume quite a few things about her, so I want more practice before I work on her. Mindset is really important too, because ultimately, if you're totally freaked out, now every time you see a dog, your dog's going to pick up on that. And animals are very sensitive to energy, so if they got attacked and now they're over it, but you're not over it, and every time you see a dog, you react, and you're like, oh crap, how is this going to go? Oh my gosh. Then they're going to pick up on it, and they're going to be nervous about it. So you have to learn to change your mindset about it and be more positive, because then they'll see, okay, she's fine, so I'll be fine, right? So that's really important. But again, they do pick up on our energy, so that's something you need to be aware of, especially if you've ever seen a dog fight. It's not pleasant at all, and usually somebody gets injured. So just please be careful, because nobody wants their animal to get hurt, and nobody wants their animal to hurt anyone else. So please just take the time. I have a friend who's a dog trainer, and we were out for a walk yesterday, and we were talking about it. She has some stuff. She's busy right now, but we're going to put together a presentation on basic dog behavior and training, and more like conscious pet handling. I know my friend from California uses that phrase a lot, a conscious pet handler. But when you're responsible for another being, you are supposed to be present. And that's something that a lot of people in this age don't really understand, because, they're walking their dog and they're out on their phone, or they're playing with their cat and they're watching something on YouTube, or, nobody actually spends quality time together that way. So just something to think about. But ultimately, in the wild, cats and dogs are only, when I say cats and dogs, I mean like wolves and big cats, are only aggressive when they're being defensive, when it comes to their physical safety or the safety of their group. So if we project that onto modern animals, they're being protective of themselves and their group, which is us, or any other animals that we may take out with them, or children, or whoever's in the family. So the bigger your family, the more stressed out the animal's going to be, because they feel like they have to protect everybody. So something to think about, because reactivity is a big problem, especially with things like the dog park, which is not monitored, and I've seen many dog fights there. Or two dogs playing so aggressively that their pet parents just say, oh, well, that's just how they play. Not if somebody's getting injured. That's not safe play. But that's a whole nother topic. But just something to think about. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and if you celebrate Easter, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you next week.